If North American car makers want to see how a car should be built, all they have to do is take a look at the new Honda Accord.
At the risk of overdoing it, I maintain that the Honda Accord EXI is the best car in the market, dollar for dollar and otherwise. Our test EXI Coupe, with a base price of $15,695, compares favorably with cars that cost 2 and 3 times as much. The styling, for example. Even though this particular generation of Accord is approaching the 4-year mark, it remains one of the most distinctive and elegant cars on the road today. Its high rear deck, pop-up headlights, and sloped front end have set the standard by which all other cars are judged, and as far as I'm concerned, it makes most other sedans look clumsy by comparison. And our test coupe, which, by the way, arrived fresh off the transport truck with almost no miles on it, is made in Honda's Marysville, Ohio plant, and it's as well assembled as anything made in Japan or elsewhere. Power comes from a 2-liter, 12-valve, 4-cylinder engine that develops 120 horsepower at 5,800 RPM. And 2 transmissions are available, 4-speed automatic, 5-speed manual. Our test car had the 5-speed manual. Again, this engine is a work of art. It has excellent low-end torque, revs smoothly at all speeds, and delivers very competitive fuel economy, 34 miles per gallon for the 5-speed. This is a very refined transmission. You and I have often raved about the incomparable Honda shift mechanism, Tony, and this year's Accord is no exception. And although I'm obviously very pleased with the styling and drivetrain of the Accord, where I really feel comfortable is inside the car. With the exception of maybe Mercedes, Saab, and Volvo, the Accord has it over every other car on the road in this department. Last year I had an Accord EXI sedan for 8 months and I didn't want to give it back. I feel the same way about this EXI Coupe. What I like most about the Accord is the position behind the wheel. Because of the long sloping hood, visibility out front is excellent. The seats also fit me to a T. All the controls are straightforward and easy to get at, with the possible exception of the radio, and Honda has added some nice little touches like these manual vent controls and a tilt steering lever that slides forward so that shorter people can get at it. That's good engineering, plain and simple. One minor flaw I noticed here was the fact that you can't completely stop the flow of air through the dash vents. No matter what you set the ventilation at, cool air somehow gets through, and I also noticed this on my Accord sedan last year. Although I do like the Accord Coupe an awful lot, this is one of those rare times when I prefer the 4-door version. The Coupe just looks the tiniest bit ungainly to me, and I, for one, prefer straightforward rear seat access. But that's about all I can find wrong with it.
You know that list you have of cars you'd consider buying? Put the EXI at the top of it for me.
Well, you know, I'd love to find some way I could disagree with you, but all I can do is endorse what you've already said about this car. It's not for nothing that Honda's been called the world's best car maker. There simply isn't a model in its range that falls short of perfection in whatever class it's aimed at. When I first saw an Accord Coupe, I wondered why on earth Honda would introduce a car that at first sight competes directly with the Accord hatchback and the Acura Integra. But what the heck, Ted, who am I to argue about another Honda in the world? As far as I'm concerned, the more Hondas the better until other manufacturers, domestic in particular, match that famous quality. I just love the styling of the coupe. It looks like a downsized version of the Mercedes 560 SEC and costs nearly $100,000 less. It also looks nearly as nice as Honda's Legend Coupe, again at a worthwhile saving. I could find fault with the pop-up headlights, but this had been nitpicking. Actually, the car is sold in some markets with neat, streamlined headlights permanently in place, and it looks better this way in my view. Now, I like coupes a lot, and I feel they fulfill a real need. Now, I've got a 2-year-old, as you know, Ted, and I never feel completely safe with the knowledge that the little devil can get at the rear door locks in a 4-door car. Now, I know all about child-proof locks, but I still feel safer with just 2 doors in these circumstances. The interior is beautifully designed and trimmed with impeccable taste. The seats are outstanding, and the feel of the controls is second to none at whatever price you pay. Instrumentation is almost faultless, though there is some of the switch scattering that seems to be a feature of all Japanese cars. The drivetrain is, as you say, just about perfect, and acceleration is particularly brisk. Enthusiastic drivers should be able to hit 100 kilometers per hour in under 9 seconds with this car. Now, I know that some viewers think I'm biased when I lavish praise on Japanese products like this, but I'd love to find similar quality at the price in a North American vehicle. And since this car was built in the States, it seems that there's no excuse for domestic products to fall short. It all boils down to good design and effective production engineering techniques. You know, I've never owned a Honda, Chet, but every time I drive one, I wonder why anybody would buy anything else, really.
You know, it's getting embarrassing because every time we talk about Hondas, we praise them to the skies. People are going to start thinking we work for the company or something.
Well, I know, but what can you say? The car is so beautifully made. The fit and finish in there is an example for anybody. I mean, this car, to me, is like a mini Mercedes. It's a beautiful little car.
You know what it is, I think? I think it's a quality of design because this car is manufactured in Ohio, and they also manufacture them in Ontario, and they're equally as good as anything out of Japan.
That's right, they build the 4-door models in Ontario and the 2-doors in Ohio.
And they're indistinguishable from the Japanese ones. So
it is design. It is design. The way things fit in a car, it's production engineering qualities. It's people who know how to design these parts so that they fit. Even if they don't fit, they fit, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. You know, last year when I had the 4-door sedan for a couple of months, one of the problems I had was the spongy brakes. Honda admitted that they had some problems with their brakes. This year's model, we didn't point out, has I think, very good brakes.
I think they listen. They listen to comment and they act on it.
Yeah, this year, the Coupe, to me, has got no problems whatsoever. Anyway, we like this car, but what we don't like is we don't like the sort of random flow of air through the dash vents. That's about it, really. And what we do like is we love the styling, we love that engine, and we love the interior. We love the car. What can we say? If you're in the marketplace for this thing, it's quite crowded in there. You might want to look at the Mazda 626, the Toyota Camry, Eagle Medallion, NISSAN STANZA, and the Volkswagen Jetta. They're all very similar cars.
All those cars are 4-doors, by the way, so this Honda fits rather into a niche of its own.